Hi, my name is Avis Pickens, and this is in completion of Category C, Assessing and Learning Resources. Last year, for progress monitoring, I used forms, and I know lots of teachers have used something similar to this. Similar to this, where I track students' IEP data collection on progress monitoring, and weekly would track these forms and try and compile them. And there's two different students here. I've redacted the names on them. We would keep track of notes and everything else. And quite frankly, this is a pain in the butt, and I hated it. So this year, I have changed up things with Google Forms. And with it, this is a sample data form, similar to what I've done with my other students. And I created this just for this presentation, but I have one for each of my 7 students this year now. You create the form by adding the different questions that are exactly in line with the IEP requirements. So on each one, for instance, this one's increasing language skills necessary for classroom participation, mastery of 80%. This was created in league with a speech pathologist, where the student would answer questions about an activity or answer WH questions involving current activities, or give some sort of spontaneous verbal interaction, and then we would keep track of that. And so basically create a form with all the different things. So it's similar to this, only not all the tally marks and things like that. So when you're finished, you can print it out. It looks like a little form if you want to. But what's really great about this is you can send yourself the link, or whoever else that needs to have access to it too. So the link comes to you like this, and it asks what day it is, month, day, and year. So you would click on this, and you could click, today's December 2nd, so you could click December 2nd. And then you go through and you just answer each one, and it's a simple click of the button. So wherever check mark you're doing, whatever that student is. And since this is a sample student, I'm just going to randomly click through here some of the, say, 20 words reading per minute. Down here, a journal prompt will say that they were able to write with 1 prompt a phrase and 2 prompts a simple sentence. They can trace and copy, and then they have struggling writing words. And let's say they have 60% accuracy in their math still, and maybe down here, their behavior, they don't comment much, they don't ask questions, but they will respond to comments every time you ask, almost every time. So let's say that, and maybe respond to a question. Sometimes they'll do that as well. And then this is for interventions, proactive talk, we use praise, token boards. Those are very common. Maybe this child also needs noise canceling headphones. There's also a section where I put in that you could write any other interventions you might have tried, like sensory equipment. You could type that right in. Sensory, if you're familiar with body sock, I could write that in. Where'd it go? Interventions. What happened? What did I just do, Greg? There we go. Let's look at that. It's going to say body sock. So we use the body sock. You can write any comments you want, and then you submit. There you go. It's that simple. What comes to you then later, after all this is done, every time that's gone through, you can adjust your questions at any time, but your responses come through. So far, there's 12 sample responses that I've recorded in there. Wow, it's kind of, there we go. And it gives you bar graphs for each one. And it's color coded. So less than 60%, 60%, 70%. So on a basis of how many we have talked about. There's a pie graph. To use sound segmentation to substitute, delete, or add sounds to a word. For example, in cap to a C, so it would say cap instead of nap. This person is 66% of the time is able to do this at a 60% level of success. So basically it gives you all the progress monitoring data you need right there that you can write on a progress monitoring sheet. And here are all the different strategies we use for interventions. And there's the one we actually stuck in with the body sock. So anyway, that's what I created, and I've been using it with all 7 of my students. It's working really, really well. I'm sure that I'll have tweaks to it as I go along, but it's really, really helpful and saves me a ton of time. So anyway, thanks for listening.